did watch This Is Us. Oh man, I
Yes.
get your tissues for that. But just like the men in that show is just very positive, very enlightening, very encouraging. And that was great because it also helped me wipe the view that I had of God off. Because a lot of times we have our dad's face on God. The way our dad showed up for us subconsciously, we're putting that on God. And
Absolutely.
so I felt like he was distant. I felt like he was mad all the time. That was also from some of my church upbringing. But watching This Is Us and seeing like how the men were patient with their significant others or things like that really helped. Um, so if there's a place in your life you feel like you have a void, I encourage you to Google, movies that have positive XYZ,
Yeah.
or find books, whatever your learning style is. So
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I'm not diagnosed with ADHD, but I did just lose my train of thought. So,
That is
yeah.
some of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think that's a really important message is, we have this like neuroplasticity where our brains can be rewired and
Yes,
they can heal and
yes,
they can have different trains of thought and different pathways of thought. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, especially when our thoughts are connected to some kind of emotion behind it. That makes it a little bit, you kind of have to address the emotional wound and part as you're addressing the mental pathway and whatever. But I do love that God made us to heal. Physically we can heal from our a cut, but he made our brains to heal and he made our hearts to heal. And it's really cool that we are like opening up to more and more people can lead us through that healing, where it may have been isolated to physical type, doctors and things. And therapists help some too, but there's just a bigger conversation going on talking about emotional healing and heart healing and mental healing and how to change your mindset. I love getting on Instagram and seeing all the coaches and mentors and ads for different things because it's just so it's right there. It's like
yeah,
nobody has to stay isolated or in pain like you were saying before. It's like you could just join a group and kind of be a passive member and that's great. Like I've done those before too. Or you could jump in and hire that person that you see that ad. I mean, that's how we met. The program we were in, I don't know where you saw your ad, but I think I was on YouTube and it was like they were speaking to
um,
me, and so I clicked on it and joined the program. And it's just you never know the situations you're going to put yourself in that God already
yeah,
has that freedom and breakthrough for you. you know I'm always in
it's
awe of that, of how God's like already there before I even knew
yeah,
that I was going to go that weekend or before I knew I was going to sign up. He's like, she's going to sign up, and when she
yeah.
gets there,
I'm
yeah,
waiting for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm going to lead her, and when she gets there she's going to have massive breakthrough and massive freedom and massive fun. I love
He's good. He's good. He's
he's a
good.
good
I
guy.
remember
Yeah.
that too. Okay, no, don't leave. Okay, so my thought was to
Cool.
also, I was going to highlight that you as a teacher, just the positive
Mhm.
impact that's having on those kids that may have dyslexia or ADHD. You can be that safe person for them, and like who knows up to this point if they had someone that believed in them or someone that they could relate to. And I think that's really amazing. And that's something I do kind of with like the bottom umbrella of my business. I don't know. But like my philanthropic promise is to help the next generation of girls because I don't want them to have to go through the pain of healing if possible. If I can instill the values of confidence in them, if I could instill the values of how to regulate your nervous system, especially through the age of 6 to 12, because that's when you're in your cognitive development. That's when your brain is like a sponge and you're just taking in messages, taking them in left and right. And when there's no filter or there's no one to be like, hey, you have just a different way of learning. Your way of learning is good enough. Like you are good enough on your own. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are intelligent. If there's no one instilling those values or filtering out the negative, then they're going to have to go through the healing. And it's a lot harder to heal than it is just to have those values instilled in you.
It's
You
true.
know, it's capable, you can do it. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight. I remember Abby Stumble, the consultant I mentioned earlier, she talked about how she had a great experience at a camp. You know, she thought she was going to be healed from things, like she had that Jesus high, right? And then she got back and she started feeling suicidal again. Like she's talked about this publicly, so I
Yeah.
can't too. And so she talked to her youth pastor and she's like, what happened? Like I went to camp, I had this amazing experience, and now I'm still having these thoughts. And he said, when you went to camp, you know, you were healed in that moment, but now you have to change the habit of your thought or something along those lines. So every time the thought of suicide or like, I want to die came up, first she just started saying no, right? And then, like, over time, she was able to say, no, I don't. Then over time, she was able to say, no, I don't, I want to live. And then that thought just kind of went like a cloud and she didn't notice it.
Yeah.
And full transparency, that took her 4 years. Now, not everything you're going through is going to take 4 years. There's ways to speed up the process, and that's why like mentorship and coaching is so important.
Yeah.
Because you have like a community and you have people who can lead and guide you through the process. You don't have to do it on your own, but it doesn't happen overnight. And I know Courtney and I, we still have things that come up. We haven't mastered everything. Um, but everything that we're giving you advice on, we have to do for ourselves as well. It's kind of like maintenance. And over time, you can do a little bit less, but it's not going to happen overnight. And I'm very big on authenticity. So I don't want someone to think like, oh, I can change or rewire my brain in one night or
Yeah.
even a month or even 3 to 6 months. And I mean, if God wants to heal you miraculously, then hey, but if you've been thinking a certain way for so long, the brain elasticity, it's making ruts. Just think of like digging a hole, or like digging in a garden, making a line. It's going to take time to fill it in and let that dirt kind of settle. It's going to take time to start digging somewhere else because you got to fill in the part that you were digging in first, and then you have to start digging somewhere else. And
Mm.
that's why I just want to be authentic about that and just let you know it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And sometimes it'll happen like when you least expect it. A lot of my things aren't like, oh wow, I did this thing for 3 weeks and then bam, or I did this thing for 6 months. One day I'll just be like, wow, that thought's not hunting me as much anymore.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel freer in this area. It just kind of surprises you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. And because there's an effort and intention a part of
Mhm.
this journey, right? It's like, it's not a passive journey for sure. You have to be able, I think it's kind of similar to like a gym workout. Like people know in their head what to do, like so many reps of whatever, but then it's like, are you doing it? That's the difference. And that's
Yeah.
the same thing for our mental health, emotional health. It's like, are all these things a checklist, or are you in that mental gym and emotional gym and working it every day? And even it's also seasons too. Like I'll have seasons where I'm focusing in on one thing. I have seasons where I've pulled back. I have seasons where, I stopped going to the gym type thing, which I think is super normal for a lifestyle change, which is what we want people to have. Is like, if I look
Yeah.
back, so I probably started, well, I think I originally started therapy like 24 years ago. But as far as like a breakthrough in emotional health and all that stuff has really been 6 to 10 years, I would probably say. Because before that, therapy can only help you so far, especially talk therapy and
Yeah.
some of that stuff. I didn't get a ton of breakthrough with talk therapy, but as far as like these programs and things I've been doing, it's like massively changed my life. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like trees and then forest, right? The trees are get in there, do the work, changing the thought processes, taking care of your heart. But then the forest part is I look back 6 years ago, 10 years ago, and I'm like, my life is massively different than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I am massively
Yeah.
different than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I used to think like, man, I need to change so much. And I would be offended by that. And it's not your personality. I used to think it was me because I was bad and like not good enough, right?
Mhm.
And God wanted to change me. And it's like now I know that God wanted to peel back all the layers of trauma and abuse and self-neglect and self-hatred so that the real Courtney could shine through. It was actually the opposite of what I thought. I thought I wasn't good enough and he was going to change me. And he's like, no, 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 actually you're
Yeah,
just covered because you were good enough. You just got covered up. And so it's kind of this
yeah,
undoing journey of like, quit doing all those things that you do to cover the person that I made you to be. Um,
mhm,
and so that is kind of amazing. Just like you're saying, you look back and you're like, wow, the thing I've been working on, I got breakthrough along the way, and sometimes you can miss it because you just look back and you're like, wow, that's not even a part of my life, like something I did
yeah,
years ago. I don't even do that anymore, and so
yeah,
it's so worth it to me. I'm like, it's so worth it. If you want financial breakthrough, emotional, mental, relationships. I mean, I'm a parent, I have 3 children, and I wanted
yeah,
to leave a better legacy for my children than I was given. That was a massive intention and motivation in my life.